Well, hello there. It is Sunday night, which means it's Wicked Women. You've been waiting for it all week. You know you have. You know you've been waiting for a bit of Wicked on a Sunday. I mean, what else would you do on a Sunday evening, especially when it's raining in London? So here we are. We are just gone 8 minutes past 9. We like to keep you waiting just a little bit. You know, me and Val sit back here and we go, yeah, let's keep them waiting. No, we don't. But it's so nice to be here. And we have a full team tonight. The whole shebang is back on Wicked Women. We have the most amazing guest, somebody I am so thrilled to have on the show. I have known this gentleman a long time. I'm a big fan and admirer, and we both have red shoes in common. So literally, I'm so glad that he's here tonight. I can see him laughing there. So, yes, so as I say, it is Sunday the 19th of October. I'm coming live from just out of London, UK, and I'm going to bring in, she's not been here for a few weeks, but she's back. I'm going to bring in my other lovely host and my partner in crime. Hello, my darling.
Hello.
Where have you been, woman? I missed you.
I've been hiding.
You have been hiding. I've definitely missed you, and I think you've been missed as well.
Well, I don't know about that, but possibly.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
welcome
anyway.
Back. Welcome back, Miss V. How's Virginia today?
It is raining.
Join the club.
Yeah,
the club.
It has been raining all day.
Yes, we have it here too. So quite frankly, it's not good. Now I'm going to bring in our lovely guest because, as I say, I have known this gentleman. We met in Calgary. He is very impressive as in what he does in his work. He's been through hell and back in his own life, so he comes from a lot of experience. I was going to bring him on Robertson many moons ago, but sadly, due to lots of things, he didn't. But he's like, I'll go on Wicked Women. So here we are. I'm going to bring him the lovely Dwayne. Hello, sweetie.
Well, hello, Wendy. Hi, Valerie. It's a pleasure to be on Wicked Women. Finally, this is awesome.
I know. We've got you where we want you now.
All right, let's do this.
So, Dwayne, let me tell you, for everyone who can hear your lovely accent, you're actually from Calgary, aren't you? And you're actually...
I am currently in Dover.
Yeah, you're in Dover.
Yeah, I've been here doing the Magical Mystery Tour, and so I'm just discovering this part of the UK and just loving it. It's just been absolutely incredible. What an amazing experience so far.
What do you think of the UK?
Well, I've always enjoyed the UK. It's changed dramatically since the last time I was here. Yeah. I had the pleasure of traveling for an entire year 2 years ago, and I was in London for almost 4 months. Went to Edinburgh for a month, and obviously, I mean, I loved London, really loved it, but I could really feel a lot of change has happened in the last 2 years. And yeah. I never had been to Dover before, so it's a new experience for me, but it's just absolutely lovely here.
Well, Dover's pretty popular these days. So, Dwayne, obviously, I've asked you to be on Wicked Women. You have an amazing book, which is coming out not too far away in the future, but I wanted to invite you on because you do an amazing work, and I wanted people to know a bit about you, about your background, where you're from, how you got started, what got you into the Remarkable Man. Obviously, we know you're an author and a life coach, and you have obviously helped a lot of guys, not just from Canada, but obviously from around the world. And so tell us a bit about you, where your background, what started your journey?
Well, I'll give you the Coles Notes version. I've been a serial entrepreneur all my life. And in about, I think it was 2008, I had what I call my perfect storm. And during that time, I had a very successful outdoor advertising company. I was married to the girl or engaged to the girl of my dreams. And I had a 7-year-old son from a previous relationship. But in about an 18-month period, I found out that I manifested crooked partners to help me run my company. I found out that my 7-year-old son was not mine. And my fiance at the time, I mean, she was my rock, but she was an alpha woman, very strong in who she was. But when I found out what was going on, I lost my edge. I lost my mojo. I lost the very thing that she was attracted to. And I was the alpha when we met, and that's what she needed. And because I identified so much about who I was with this company, I mean, I built it from the ground up. And then to be betrayed by people I trusted, it just took the wind out of my sails. And then finding out that my son was not mine, I mean, I was really, he was my little man, right? And we were, you know, father and son against the world. It just crushed me. And so I just lost my edge. And as much as I was trying to get it back, nothing was working. And I fell into the trap of what pop culture says, happy wife, happy life. And I became a yes man. And yes, dear, whatever you want, dear. Here's some flowers, dear. No, you pick the restaurant. And meanwhile, she's doing the gag reflex. And I can't figure out why everything that pop culture says a man should do is not working. Here are the flowers. You know, it would pacify, but it wasn't getting to the next level. The intimacy was waning. The sexual tension was all but gone. And I couldn't figure it out. What the hell? It's supposed to work. But what she was really looking for is, honey, little black dress, 7 o'clock, let's go, get ready. And when a man really understands how this works, it's a powerful piece. But I didn't know, and everything that I tried just wasn't working. And then she ended up getting a really great opportunity back east in Ontario. And I told her to get it because I wasn't done this messy proxy battle with my business. And there I was, 18 months later, I had lost everything that I held near and dear to me. And I had been surrounded. I had a seminar company as well prior to this. So I knew a lot of empowered women. And one thing I really learned was that there is a women's network or support group for almost every aspect of a woman's life. And I'm thinking, what was out there for men? What do men have for support? And so I started looking. I started looking around for what a man of where I was at could really benefit from. And I couldn't find one in my town of Calgary. And then it was like a friend of mine said, hey, Dwayne, I know a guy that knows a guy, and he knows a guy that has a cousin that goes to this men's group. You should check it out. And it was in a church basement, and it was every cliche you could imagine about what a men's group back in 2000 and, well, at this time, it was now 2010, would look like. And it was a bunch of men, 12 of them, in a circle, bare light bulb in the basement, and they were all commiserating. They were all pissed off, angry men pointing at the world and not taking responsibility for their lot in life. And they were projecting out onto their exes, their wives, their girlfriends. And I went, no, this is not what I want. I want to go to the next level. And then I was invited to a men's weekend. And it was the most misogynistic experience of my life. And it was teaching men to go and claim the household as the king. And I get the essence of it, but the way they were doing it was just setting these poor men up for destruction. Like, I'm going to go and claim my kingdom now. She's going to be my queen and I'm going to be her king. But meanwhile, she's just going to go, oh, you're doing that thing you learned on the weekend. Oh, isn't that cute? No, it's not going to work. And so I thought, is this all there is? It's men in a church basement or drumming naked in the forest with a bunch of, soldiers. And I went, no. So the universe just said, Dwayne, you're going to create something. You're going to create something truly remarkable. And even at that time, I'm like, no, I'm not your guy. You see where I'm at, right? You do see where I'm at. And and the universe is like, that's exactly why you're going to do this. And so I started doing my research and I wrote the book, The Remarkable Man, Champions to Women, Heroes to Children, and Brothers to Each Other. And when I wrote that, I realized that there is a global malaise happening to men. And the book was written in 2013, and it is now having a renaissance right now. In fact, 2025 is breaking all the records it was previously. And there's a reason for that, is because men are starting to recognize what's going on in this world and realizing that we are either going to have to level up or be left behind. And I've seen this where men are needing brotherhood, men are needing empowerment, but they have to do it in the right way. And there's a lot of red pill conversations happening where men are just checking out altogether, and it's not serving men, and it's not serving women either. And so this world right now that we're in right now is devoid of masculine leadership. And what we need now, this world is desperate for remarkable men. And this is why I'm so passionate about the work that I do.
And it's not just, it's very interesting, remarkable men, and as I put in my promo, as a father, as a lover, as a partner, as a friend. Because, I was chatting with Sparky today and we were talking about certain elements, and it does, like, if you look back to men in the First World War, very, very different people, very, very different men. And we were talking about when you see the guys walk down the street with their jeans halfway down their bum and their pants sort of hanging, their underwear hanging out, and I think it's really cool. And it's kind of like, what's happened to guys? I mean, we live in a very, very different world than the one that you and I grew up in, that's for sure. And I think that what I got from your work and what I've got from your reading bits and pieces over the years is the fact that you want to encourage a guy to be the best version of himself, so that his relationships with his family and his wife and his business, whatever, are the most healthiest and positive he can have.
Absolutely. A man should be seeking excellence in every area of his life. And as he does, he levels up. And when a man truly is a champion to the women in his life, and especially to the dads out there, you're the model for your children. I mean, if they recognize that that's the benchmark, that's my dad, and that's the interaction that he has with mom, and like, oh my God, look at mom and dad. Oh, you guys, you embarrass me. It should be that. The kids should be able to witness mom and dad being passionate, not sex. I'm not talking about, openly in front of the children, but at least being passionate with one another, flirtatious with one another, where it's like, kids are always, get a room, it's just that level of energy that mom and dad are in love. They're truly in love. And so that when that young daughter is old enough to start dating, she goes, I have a benchmark for what I want. And dad set that for me. Dad's a champion to mom, and that's what I want for me. And then it's also for the sons that's my dad. Wow, he's my hero. And he has set the tone for how I'm to treat women. And putting that out there. And the last one is brothers to each other, because there's a lot of separation right now. There's a lot of men just doing the lone wolf thing, and that's very destructive. And we want men to connect with one another, have each other's back when the chips are down. And if you don't have friends, then get into a men's group. If you have one in your city, look for one. Get coaching. If there's someone out there, there's a lot of men out there doing incredible work with men. And it's so important that men recognize in this place and in time, we've got to really level up. And right now, being remarkable should be a benchmark that every man would want to strive for, whatever the best version of them is. It's in you. It's in every man.
Val, what's your take on this? Because your mum and dad were together for a long time. Did you see them being close with each other?
I think I saw good and bad. I can remember a lot of times, of them hugging and loving on each other and all this, but I also saw, the fights and the hurt. But I think men and women both need to be, I can't think of the word. They need to show their children what a good marriage looks like.
Absolutely. I mean, I have no memory of my parents being loving to each other. I have no memory of that. My mum and dad, it was always, they lived separate lives, doing separate things. So I have absolutely no memory of them at all. So I would absolutely say that for me, yeah, for sure. I grew up thinking I never want to date my dad, and actually ended up dating.
But that's what I think. That's what happens when you have a bad experience. When you grow up with that, you unintentionally go towards that in a relationship because you think that's normal. That's what it's supposed to be like. Mm-hmm. And if you've never seen a true, loving, passionate relationship between two people, you don't know it exists.
I'm going to bring Sparky in because we had a conversation this morning, and I said to her, "You'll be very interesting for Dwayne to chat with you because she can tell you her own story." And the thing is, as you say, with women, we really have to up our game as well. We need to find remarkable partners, men who are in their power and have got their shit together and absolutely know what they want, and they're not wishy-washy and they're not inconsistent, because that means we as women have become far more in our masculine, where we're having to do more, we're having to be controlled, we're having to be the boss, we're having to do the two roles, we're having to be the strength, and being vulnerable and being in your feminine sometimes it is very scary, because you can be let down, you can be hurt, you can be betrayed even more so. And when I was talking to Sparky this morning, I said, you've got a perfect story. So before I bring Micah in, I'm going to bring Sparky in, because I think you would be amazing to tell your story to Dwayne. Sparky.
Hello, you all right? I'm here.
Hey, Sparky.
Hi. Yeah, so for me, I seem to have quite more of the masculine energy that comes out more than the feminine, mainly because and it's only actually recently that I've realized this, but when I was growing up, my dad was in the army, and he would go away on tour. And when he was away on tour, I would have to step up and be the person that my mum needed me to be. Whether that would have been, I've always said I stepped up to be the man of the house, because I would do the simple things like, I'd get the spiders, I'd do the bins. If mum came back with shopping, I would bring all of the shopping in from the car, probably in a single trip, because that's what I did. And I always found that where I was stepping into that role, and because I was young, I know I was very impressionable at that time. So everything that I was doing has then built me up to kind of where I am today. And with that, I always found when my dad would come back from tour, he would end up trying, it's not the right word, but he would take over the role again. But I have always been very much a kind of perfectionist, and very much the kind of person who, if you're going to do something, you better do it right, because if you don't do it right, there's no point you doing it in the first place. So he'd come back and try to step into the role of which I had been doing for 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't be doing it in the correct way, from what I would see would be the correct way. And there were times where he would step into the role, and a lot of the times where he just wouldn't step into the role, and he would go off into the garage and go and drink himself silly, which, I get from a military standpoint, that's what a lot of the guys did when they came back. But for me, it's continued into my adult life and onward, because I've always had to be the person who I have relied on, or other people have been able to rely on, rather than me being able to have other people to rely on, because those who I should have been able to rely on in the first place, I couldn't rely on. So that's something I've kind of been fighting for a while. And it's definitely come up even more recently, where I'm a very protective person. I will always put other people before myself. And I like to make sure that everyone around me is in their safe space. And if it makes me not in my safe space, then that's fine. It's a sacrifice that I make. So I always feel like I've had more of a masculine energy than a feminine energy. And as Wendy said, the idea of me bringing the feminine energy out is slightly terrifying, because whenever I do, there is damage that happens. And I damage control. I've lived my life being damage control.
Can you elaborate on what that damage looks like when you're fully in your feminine?
So say, for example, if I go on a night out, say, and I go out, I've had this before where I've gone out with a couple of girls and we're all dressed up, we're all looking fancy. And it gets to a point in the evening where I have to put away the feminine side and bring the masculine side out again, because there is a threat. And it tends to be that there is an obnoxious, overconfident, arrogant male who comes into our group and decides to try and take over. Now, we're having a lovely time. You weren't invited into this group, for example. So you need to leave. And it would tend to be me who would switch back into the more protective and the more masculine, to actually say, actually, no, mate, back off. Not interested. Get out of here. As one example.
Right. Well, you're not alone, because right now, even when I wrote my previous book, I have a new one coming out, and it's actually called Masculinity in the Age of the Empowered Woman. And we're in a polarity flip crisis, where more and more women are in their masculine and more men are in their feminine. And there's nothing wrong with it, because feminine, masculine is in every one of us. And it doesn't matter how you identify. It really doesn't. The masculine and feminine energy is there because that's what creates polarity. That creates sexual attraction. However, when the polarity gets flipped, it doesn't serve the man or the woman. Simply because when a man is in his feminine, now there's good traits. When a man is in his feminine, he can be more heart-centered. He's very communicative. He could be very creative. But when he's there too long, he loses his edge. He loses his decisiveness. He's not that strength that he needs to be. And he is looking for validation in a lot of ways. And when he's in that space, and I come by this honestly, because that's what happened to me, is when my world tanked, I went from that alpha energy that she felt was so attractive to the feminine energy where I was looking for safety and making sure everything was calm and cool and she was happy. I wanted to make sure she was happy, but I didn't know I had flipped to my feminine. I had no clue. And because I went to my feminine, she and other women in the situation, they have to flip to their masculine because the man doesn't have it anymore. And so many households and relationships are dealing with this right now, where women are taking on that masculine energy because where's my boyfriend anymore? Where's my husband? What happened? Holy crap, he's a shadow of his former self. Make a frickin' decision. And so she's doing double duty. And so now she's feeling that resentment. He's feeling resentment because he doesn't know why he's feeling weak and indecisive. And of course, the sexual tension's gone. But most couples don't have a language for it. They don't know. He doesn't know he's feminine, gone into his feminine. She doesn't know she's in her masculine. And so they just fight about everything else except the elephant in the room. And when we understand where these vibrational frequencies are in our lives, we can then go, oh, crap, I am way too far in my feminine energy right now for this interaction. I have to amp it up. I have to get into my masculine frame to be able to serve this dynamic in a more powerful way. And like you mentioned, Sparky, when you're in this dynamic and your friends are all in their feminine, they're playful and happy and joyful. And then a man comes along and he doesn't know how to regulate that masculine energy in the proper frame with a bunch of women in their feminine, then right away safety and security goes out the window. And you put your cape on and the S on your chest and you save the day. But it forces you to go into a masculine frame in order to do that. And now you've got two masculine energies and then conflict arises. It's a good thing in certain situations, but in relationship dynamics, it can be a challenge.
Completely. Absolutely.
That's what we were talking about this morning, because Sparky's had some tough times in her life, certainly in relationship quarters, and I think it's safer to go into the masculine. And I don't know about you, Val, but sometimes I find there are so many wishy-washy men out there, so inconsistent men. So, well, I don't know. I thought I wanted a relationship, but now I don't. And I've still got trauma that I'm dealing with from the past, and it wasn't, and now like I did, and it drives me fucking insane. It's like, look, put your foot in the water or take it out. And Val, you and I have talked about this many times. The reason why we stop looking to date and stop looking for men is because they're just so. Not all of them. I'm not going to do all men, but a lot of men have become very wishy-washy and inconsistent now.
Yeah, you just want to tell them to literally man up. I mean, that's,
Yep.
And that's
And men
that's
are
the
hearing
nicest
that a
phrase.
lot.
That's the nicest phrase. Man up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bring Michael in because obviously another gentleman's point of view, and he can thing. But what I want to talk about is your book as well, Dwayne, because you felt like you wanted to write this book for the ladies to also read, to actually help educate them and obviously help their relationships too, right?
Absolutely. Because, I mean, we're in the age of the empowered woman, but there's also that level of awareness that maybe it's out there where there are a lot of women that are really unaware that they're freight training all over this man that is a suitor, but she is so strong, so aggressive, so in her masculine energy, but she's not realizing that it is as repelling as a wishy-washy man is to a woman, right? And so a man is wanting to go into a relationship for one thing, and a lot of people think it's sex, but and yes, it's a key driver, no question about it. But a man wants peace and respect. And for a lot of women, they go, wait a minute, wait, time out. He has to earn it. I want respect too. I want respect too. But it's that one place that allows a man to be elevated into that masculine frame. And when you've got empowered women, and I want to bring Michael in too, but I want to give a little bit of a preface here, is that for decades, women and girls have been getting the rah-rah. Like, you are unstoppable. You go, girl. Lady balls, boss babe. There's nothing you can achieve. And just go and crush it out there. Every commercial, every sitcom has a strong, empowered woman. On the flip side, men and boys have not got that message for 30 years or more. Men have been gotten the message that they don't matter, that they are the reason the world is a shit show, and that your very essence, that what you're born with, this thing that is the key driver of what makes you you, is toxic. And so this is the message. And this is why men have turned down the knob on masculinity, is because, I better not, because I'm going to be accused of being that. So I'm going to hold back. And now that women are, you go, girl, unstoppable. There's nothing you can't do, and you don't need a man. So this is why this clash is happening. And this is why relationships and dating is so incredibly insufferable right now, is because neither know how to show up anymore. And everyone's trying to find this sweet spot. But when we recognize that, hey, maybe we've been sold a bill of goods that doesn't serve relationships. It just serves the system to create division. It just serves the system to create, let's hate each other.
Can I just bring in a question now, Dwayne? Sorry to interrupt. When you talk about men in their masculinity, do you find that it changes from culture to culture, though? Because where you're saying men are not in their masculinity, do you not find in some cultures men are in them? They are in.
In Western society, it's plummeted dramatically,
right.
and that's by design. And there are some Eastern cultures and Middle East cultures where, it's fundamental for a man to be in his masculine.
Yeah.
And I'm not an expert on that energy, and I don't necessarily agree with how that has been positioned, but for a lot it works.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful examples is the in Pennsylvania. The Amish. The Amish. They have a beautiful environment where the men are doing what men need to be doing, and they're strong and they're virile, and the women are just, you look at an Amish woman, she's glowing. She's truly glowing from the inside out. No makeup. Nope. She's just glowing. And you look at an Amish man, strong, tough as nails. And their sense of community is just absolutely beautiful. Mm. And that's where we once were, but as a collective. And we've gotten away from it. And I think everyone misses some part of that.
But have you noticed, just in the past few years, we've heard a whole lot on social media and everywhere about toxic masculinity. And it seems like, to me, and I could be taking it completely wrong, but it seems like the people that are hollering toxic masculinity are just the ones that, see men trying to be who they are, act, like a man.
I think you nailed it, Valerie. That's exactly it. I don't believe in toxic masculinity because I believe anyone can be an asshole. Exactly. It doesn't matter what energy you are.
Exactly.
You're just being an asshole. That's all it is.
Right.
And so I just think it got hijacked to push an agenda.
Would you say it's probably more negative masculinity in that route? Because obviously,
I wouldn't even consider it negative masculinity, because then you have to look at negative femininity. And if you look at the feminist movement, where you look at the extreme end of the feminist movement, and it's supposed to be all about women and women's empowerment, but that fight energy is actually masculine energy. They've actually gone into masculine frame. And it's so ironic that this is the flag that they're planting, yet it's masculine energy that they're adopting. And so many women right now, and it used to be men where the alcohol and drug abuse was just skyrocketing, but now women are outpacing men when it comes to social alcoholism. Like, they're just drinking, and I believe it's because they're adopting a frame that's not necessarily the energy that is pure, serves their divine feminine. And their divine feminine is feeling lost in the mix. And they're being forced by society to go and crush it. But it's just not who they're wearing this on because they have to. For my sisters, doing it for, look at me, girls, and yet they're not happy.
Do you think a lot of that has got to do with social media because everything is so accessible these days?
Oh, big time! But it is an agenda. This is higher than just social media. This is orchestrated at the highest level to create division and stop people from having children. And stop the family unit from ever happening.
Do you think that a lot of those women that are pretty much forced to be that alpha, have that alpha energy, secretly they would like to have the alpha male come in and take some of the load?
Absolutely.
But they don't want to say it because of, someone saying, "Oh, well, I don't need a man," and all this, but you don't need one, but you might want one.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it, Valerie, because I think every woman that I've had the pleasure of being in their world that would identify as a strong, successful, empowered woman all wanted to give up the grind and have a man go, babe, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
It's okay. I got
But
you.
But it also goes for men because they, I think, a lot of times want that strong female to say, I got you.
Right. From a place of providing peace,
Right.
where, babe, I got you. You know, put your head here.
I
You know?
don't remember a relationship apart from maybe one where I did have a man actually say that to me and say, babe, I've got you. Because at the time, you know, as I said, women have had to become two role models, mum and dad. If you've got children, we've also, you know, I've been in many relationships where it's like I might as well do it myself, because if I'm waiting for them to do it, it's never going to happen. On the top of that is I was in an abusive relationship. I was in an emotionally and a physically abusive relationship. Certainly I let my power as a woman, definitely I gave it to him and said, there you go, it's all yours. And he just walked all over it. And then, yes, he knocked out two devils and he knocked out two devils and three in, because now I'm a very different woman. I live on my own. I've had to cope with so much, like, you know, Sparky and Val would probably say. We've had to be tough. We've had to stand our ground. We have to bring out our masculine. And it's like, there aren't many men out there. And I'm going to say, like, between Val and Sparky, we're talking almost sadly over 130 years worth of experience, and I can tell you there's not a lot of men out there. I don't mean this any disrespect to any good men that are out there, but there's not a lot of men out there that want to come in and they want to say that to you, Dwayne, and they want to have a committed relationship, because now in the days of dating on the internet, they can just swipe away and they can find someone else very, very quickly. You know, I was married to, I remember talking to Dwayne in my second marriage. My ex-husband had an internet dating profile, and we were married, and he was talking to other women while he was married to me, and he needed constant affirmation, constant reassurance that he was wanted, even though he had a wife who loved him, even though he had a wife who adored him. I remember ringing up Dwayne going, what do I do? And he said, unfortunately, you're in a bit of a sticky wicket, because you've got someone who's not facing up to the fact that they have got this issue. And so you do become this two role. Michael, let's bring you in as a guy. You're listening to this. You've obviously going to talk from the guy's point of view. What is your take on this?
This is the first time I met Dwayne right before we came on, but I could tell the way he talked. That's the reason I wanted, wicked women. I am the male input here. I was raised by a very strong single mom, had an abusive dad. They're both passed. And if anybody don't like it, they can kiss my ass. The truth is the truth. And it drove me in a way where I said I would never tolerate anybody being that way towards women. And then I joined the Army, and I was around a lot of alpha males. And if you think you're an alpha, drop yourself in some of the units I was in. If you're not, they will eat you alive. So we're doing this. I've talked to Wendy, and I said, I'm to the point in my life. I'm 53 years old. I'm going to be unapologetically male. If these women wanted somebody with feminine energy, they'd date a woman. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, but if she wants a man, be a man. I remember growing up, I'd always hear my grandfather say, if you're going to be an asshole, be her asshole. In a world of bland birds, be a peacock. And I've told people, I look at cardinals all the time. I live in the country. Showing Wendy's mom earlier, she's like, oh, it's all woods. The male redbird, the male cardinal, he's big, he's flashy, he's unapologetically out there. And and the woman kind of sits back, she tends the baby birds, she tends the nest, and he protects her. I said, men, from where I grew up, the men were supposed to provide and protect. I said, women are nesters, men are providers and protectors. And then I hear these people, like I said, I blame Walt Disney in all these movies. They show a 120-pound woman beating the bejesus out of the rock. I'm here to tell you, as you can tell by these gorgeous good looks I got, I've been hit in the face a time or two. And trust me, now, if you want a perspective on how hard a man hits, let one box you in the jaws. It will change your whole ideology. You know, which, you know, and these ladies can tell you, I'm very strong opponent for women who people look down on or talk down on. And I've got to a place in my life where it's all about fair play. I said, you know, and the Amish, I've seen them. They can't get married to the girl beard. Ain't nothing no more masculine than a beard. And I've saw them in Pennsylvania. You know, they got the big hat, the big old beard, and you cannot have a wife until you can grow a beard, which would stop a lot of this early dating or marriage. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be able to provide. You know, and that's why I say you cannot have a wife until you can financially afford her. So therefore, there's not a lot of divorce. There's not a lot of financial trouble, and so you know they kind of figured it out. And, you know, and I've seen this, and I'm sitting there, I'm taking notes. You know, I'm trying to stay on topic because I've had a few issues. But, you know, it seems like, and I know in my lifetime, I have seen them take the male out of masculinity. I remember growing up, you seen the Cleavers, you know, what was it, Joan or what are, you know, whatever. He come in, he put on his jacket to sit down and eat. Lucy and Lucille Ball, you know, them TV shows I saw. You know, she was the woman, you know, and I remember seeing these articles that say how to keep your man happy when you come home, touch up your makeup, put on some perfume, and let him be a man. But I think we have so many single mom households now that try to raise men, and they're a woman. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but they don't know how to be a man because biologically and the way they think is so far different from the way men think that they cannot raise a proper man.
I just want to jump in there because I see women talking to guys like they're a piece of dirt. And
Yeah.
I've had women, as a woman, I've been spoken to by a piece of dirt by a guy who has had no respect. And I actually am embarrassed to be a woman. And Sparky and I had this conversation a while ago. I feel embarrassed to be a woman, Dwayne, when I actually see how a good guy, he's probably a good guy, and he takes a lot of shit from a woman. He's verbally abused. He's, you know, run down. You know, he's sexually or emotionally rejected by them, but they stay with him for financial or kids or whatever other reasons. And it drives me crazy because women like me, or like Sparky or like Val, who would love to meet a guy who has got, first of all, these are the 5 tips, ladies. There's no X, right? They're over their X. There's no X in the background. They're gone. Bye. Like, you know, they're either good friends or they're gone, right? And even if there is an X, it's civil. They don't want to get back with them. There's number 1. Secondly, they know what they want. They absolutely know what they want and they go, I'm going to get it, right? Thirdly, that's really fucking horny. Let me just tell you that, and sexy. When you see a guy and he knows what he wants, you're like, oh yeah, that's hot. That's hot.
Know what he wants, Wendy.
Bring it on, baby. Thirdly, they're not wishy-washy. They're not like, well, let's just see where it goes. I'm not a fucking sat nav, right? You're either in or you're out. You either want to give it a go or you don't. Fourthly, they have got all their past, as in emotional shit and baggage, put away. And they are ready for you. They are ready for you. And you are ready for them because, Dwayne, as you say, it's got to be both healthy on both sides. They're ready for you. And number 5, you have got to have consistency, good communication, and you've got to have a great connection. And I don't know about you, but sex isn't everything. It's about, yeah, it's great to have it. It's great, but you've got to have that intimacy between you. The little, yeah. And so when I meet a guy and he's got an attitude or he's got, he thinks he's the big I'm it, you know, because a lot of them over here, is a big I'm it. You just look at him and you go, what's an arsehole? Like, seriously, a woman. And then you see that, and we were talking about tonight, guys that go to Thailand, and I'm not saying all of them, but some of them, they end up with women they would never get if they were in their country at home choice. They would,
passport bros.
but because, you know, they pay for it, it's very, very different. So I would just want to give that cue. I'm going to we have another gentleman waiting to come in as well, which I'm kind of pleased. But Dwayne, do you agree with me what I'm saying on my 5 points here?
Well, absolutely. The challenge that both men and women have is that we're in this world of these incredibly dastardly devices that have created more division than anything else in human history. And the dating, and this is what you went through, Wendy, is, you know, you've got a husband and he's swiping left and right or whatever it is. But that's the world in which we're in. And when it comes to dating, then right up front, what is your agenda? What is the goal here? You know, and I know that the dating sites have different levels or different check boxes as to what you're looking for. But so many people are not being honest as to what it is that they're truly looking for. And if they would just, if they're not doing the commitment thing, they're definitely not ready. And I tell all my clients that if you are going to get onto a dating site, then are you the best version of yourself from the previous relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Have you turned the page? Did you learn from the previous relationship? And are you the 2.0 version? And are you the guy that can say, "Hun, I got you"? If you can't, perhaps it's not. And if you're just, you know, spinning plates, that's fine. Do your thing. But as long as you're honest about it, too many men and women are doing this. They're casting the rod, bringing them in, and going, "Oh, I want you. I'm in." And so many people are going, "I think I found the one. I found the one." And week 1, week 2 is awesome. You're building on something, and then all of a sudden, they're, "Oh yeah, right. Oh damn. I'll give him a ring." You know, and then meanwhile, you got the guy on the hook over here, and there's 3 more spinning plates to make sure. I mean, yeah, he's a great guy, but I just don't like the way he wears his hair. Or he's got a nice car, but it's not that car. And I mean, there was a meme that went around where it was turned into a music thing where it was, a girl was asked, "What are you looking for in a man?" Well, he's got to be 6'4", trust fund, and into banking, and makes a healthy 6 figures. Well, right away, that's less than 1% of the population.
Absolutely.
And then what is it that 1% population, if there's a man out there that fits that criteria, he's not looking for her.
No.
And men do this too. Men will have this ideal of what he wants. And, you know, she just walked off the Victoria's Secret runway.
Oh yeah.
And she's not even going to notice him until he's that 1% guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so really be clear about what it is you want, but also be clear on what you bring to the table.
Well, Dwayne, I'm going to introduce you my podcaster hubby, who is so nice to see him here tonight, because you were supposed to come on Robertson, and here you are on Robertson, because we're both here.
Here we are,
so
inadvertently, unwittingly, and I apologize for being almost an hour in before I even looked at the clock, and because I was planning earlier today to want to be here. And there was something I have not had the benefit of hearing the whole conversation up to this point. And by the way, I just have to say as an aside, I'm seeing myself in the monitor. I look really tan. It's all real, but it only goes this far.
You really look like you've been on the beach. You really do.
It's sitting out in the chair in the sunshine. The late October tan, I'm calling this. But so you were talking about when I came in, something about sexuality, men looking for sexuality or missing it in relationships and things like that. I don't know the exact, pardon the pun, thrust you were on when you were talking about sexuality, but I will say this, is that for men, and this is my own take on it, it's not about sex. It's not about how much sex you can get, especially in a long-term relationship. It's about the lack of that starting to build frustration, the lack of intimacy. Intimacy doesn't always have to be sexual. Intimacy is lots of other things. Intimacy, the closeness, the touching, the affection. When that stuff goes away, you start realizing, guys, we're pretty slow at this sometimes. We're like, well, gosh, what's going on? And we don't realize that there's probably a deeper issue going on. And in my own case, there was lots of different reasons given for the lack of sexuality, the lack of, and I kind of bought each one, but after a while you go, oh, wait a minute, there's no intimacy. And so that sexual intimacy seems to me, from an armchair perspective, I'm not out there looking for, you don't got to sex me up every day. I don't need a hooker in the bed and a wife during the day. I need that affection. And so when it's lacking, what happened to me is you start getting more and more frustrated. I'm not talking sexually frustrated. It's the relationship feels frustrated. Work is harder to come by. Harder to get things done, not because you're dwelling on sex, but you're realizing after several months that you're saying, wait a minute, something's wrong here, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I don't know how to fix this, and I'm not getting a straight answer. And so what happens? You become more and more frustrated in life. Things don't come easy. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be serious, and I've given us about 8 entendres to play off of here, and I didn't mean to do that. But there's so much of that, especially in a man, that says we always seem to think that women are the emotional ones and men are not. Mm-hmm. Yet I find that men in general, and me, my emotions are totally encapsulated in how much affection I feel, how much I feel, not like I'm only here and I'm good as long as I produce something. And as soon as I stop producing or something hits that or things aren't working right, all of a sudden everything else falls to hell. And you say, is that all I am? My kids all get love and affection, but dad or husband is the last one to get that, especially if you're not, what if you're not working? What if your job isn't going well? What if you are working, you're not making enough money? And it becomes incredibly frustrating. So that was the first thing, without repeating myself over and over and over again. When I walked into this conversation, I heard you guys talking about that, and I didn't know if that's where you had been. But that's my personal take on that. Wendy and I have talked about this before. Probably Michael and I have before too, and Valerie. Sparky, I haven't known you long enough to have talked about sex. But
well, that's fair.
We were with our conversation the other day when the nurse came in. If Dwayne don't know, which we all know, Scotty has been in and out of the hospital. He's had a pretty rough go of it. I'm glad to see him back.
It's been an interesting few months.
And I'm glad to see, between health and personal life, and I'm not going, that's his story to tell. I won't put it out there, but.
Well, and I will say, I'm not sickly. I lost a leg. And so and it was everything leading up to that. And now the fallout. 3 weeks ago today, I had my leg taken off. And so I'm getting around, I'm doing all right.
I did the R thing.
It was a great weight loss program. I got to tell you, the 3 months leading up to that, and now I've lost a total of 69 pounds.
I was actually getting ready to say, that's an extreme weight loss program, But
I think the
No.
leg was only like 14 pounds. So,
but
if
but
that-
you know, I mean,
Let me
we do
ask
what
you,
we can.
let me ask you,
Right,
Scotty,
right.
and I want Dwayne to answer this. I'm going to ask you, Scotty, and I want Dwayne to. Do you feel, because you've been through hell and back, and you have not only not been able to work, you have lost your leg, and your wife in between that asked for a divorce, and talk about kicking a dog when it was down, couldn't kick it any further, and you've had to deal with all of this. Although she's still been there in the home where you still are at the moment, and helping where she can, you're having to deal with this all on your own. This has had a massive effect on you, and this could affect any future relationship. And I want you to just briefly explain, and I want Dwayne to reply to you.
Oh, sure. Well, we've been married for 20 years. No, technically 18. We've been together for 20 years. Our 18th wedding anniversary is coming up in a week. And in the midst of all this, before it became the leg issue, there was another issue that had led up to it. And I was pretty laid up most of this last year. Tracheal issues, stuff like that led to the leg. And if you don't see the connection in that, it's a longer story, and I'll tell you another time. But she was gone for a couple of weeks with our youngest, our 10-year-old, to Alaska to visit relatives up there. They go every year and go salmon fishing. And she came home from that and announced that she wanted a divorce. And she was very kind, and she gave me a letter, but she said, read that and come and talk to me whenever you're ready. And I read some things, and some of it was accusations. Here's the things that were wrong that, you know, I've been out of this for 2-3 years coming. And as a guy, you listen to some of the things and you go, well, that ain't true. I didn't do that. I didn't act that way. And it has been, that was the beginning of August. And so in all that time since, I've contemplated a lot of things she said. And it took me a while, but I said, you know, there is validity to what you say. She made a claim of emotional abuse. And I say, well, okay, I don't see what I did as emotional abuse, but I can, and the question came up for me, how do you validate somebody you're trying to uphold while at the same time saying, but I disagree with your premise? And she said that was one of the things that throughout our relationship I did. It was, you know, well, this and this, and she'd be mad about this, and she'd bring up a topic, and I'd say, well, that's all fine and good, but that's not how that happened. And that was the killer. It just constantly grated on her that I wouldn't just let her talk. And I got it. I get it now. I get, if I could separate myself out of this box and look back in, I'd say, okay, I get that. I get where you're coming from. But I always had a but in there. My very big but was, but when you're married 20 years and we were seemingly happy, somebody just the other day who didn't know we were getting a divorce said, you guys have been married together for 20 years and you're the happiest, cutest couple I've ever known. I'm like, well, you don't know everything. So when that hits, you're like, what can I do to fix that? Because I'm a guy. And my wife said nothing. She said, my resolve is set. And she says, I love you, but I don't romantically love you anymore. And that's gone up and down the hill and vale. Well, I don't really love you at all. But then this has been since the beginning of August, and we're still here in the same house. The paperwork's been filed in our state of Wisconsin. They put a 120-day moratorium on a divorce. And so we're at the end of December before it can even be looked at. So January. And the thing is, she's here. She's here and she's taking care of me. I need a little less now than I did at the beginning. And it's only been 3 weeks. Well, I've only been home for 2 weeks. And I got a wheelchair in the house. I can get around more. I can cook. I can do dishes. I don't need her to get every little thing for me now. But she has been there taking care of me. And you want to talk about having conflict over that inside of me. That was tough, because I would read the niceness, and then we'd sit down and we'd have a cigarette together or something outside, and we'd talk, and intimate and fun and laughy, and it would send conflict to me. And she said, I don't want you to interpret that as I've changed my resolve. I haven't. And so all the stuff that goes along with that and everything back and forth, and I sit and try to do everything I can to say, after 20 years, I don't want a divorce. And it's not because I just don't want a divorce. It's that I love my wife. And I think I know what love is, and I think I know what it means. Wendy and I spend half of the time we were doing shows together talking about love and relationships. I'm certainly no expert on it, but I think I know what it is. And there are days where I'm like, okay, fine. Fuck it, this is over. And I'll be moving on someday. And then there's other days I'm like, no, I can't give that up. I can't just throw it out. I've got to do what I can to present the front that says, and I've even told her, I'm not trying to change your mind, but I'm still here.
And what's your take on this, what you've heard so far?
There you go. Because
Well,
I can talk forever.
Firstly, Scotty, I'm sure you've gone through what you're going through, and losing the leg, damn. And, this perfect storm that you're going through. When after 20 years and you getting those papers, and she's just not into it anymore, somewhere, somehow. And right now, the reason why you're so confused and why she's doing what she's doing now, you're in the friend zone.
Yeah.
And that's the sad reality, is you're now in the friend zone, which is damn near impossible to get out. But 3 years ago, when things started to go sideways, or in her mind, somewhere, somehow, you showed or revealed the little boy within. Now, what I mean by that is that when we, as men, when we are feeling emotional, feeling vulnerable, then the boy within is exposed. And she may have seen that, whereas before it would just pop in and pop out, and there's Scotty again, and damn it, we're doing this. But there may have been a time when you languished in it for a little bit longer, to the point where she went, ick, ew, oh, who is that guy? And I don't like the emotional regulation that's happening here. And when a woman sees the little boy within, it's almost impossible for her to ever see the man again. And this is why sexual tension just goes right out the window, and intimacy, and why she may want to connect, but it's like she's a grown woman with a little boy, and it's just that energy. And that's why she can't muster the sexual energy. And men are like, oh man, what you're doing everything to rebuild or fix it, but you don't know you revealed the little boy. And you don't know, and you're trying to backpedal and figure the shit out and why this is happening the way it's happening. And for whatever reason, she's just not into you anymore. It's just slowly tanking. And the trip to Alaska, maybe she talked to a few people, and most men are the last to ever know. We're the last. Everyone knows all the intimate details of the relationship. And then she may have been around those that went, you deserve to, be strong and independent and do your own thing. You deserve better. Somehow, somewhat, she got into her head that life without Scotty would be better. And it's really a tough situation.
And she even said to me the other day when we're having just a nice conversation, she said, I really look forward to dating once this is over. And I said, I don't know that it's going to be that golden path you think it's going to be. Now, and part of the added wrinkle, I've got 19 years on her. I'm 64 and she's 35 or 45. And still very attractive. And so she's like capitalizing on that, and or wants to, I think. And I don't want to misrepresent her at the same time, but she said to me outright, I look forward to dating. And this was just a couple of days ago.
That's very hard to hear, isn't it?
That's very hard.
And I said,
I think that was literally made to put another pin in your heart, Scotty.
Probably. And what
On
I
purpose.
think has escaped me, and maybe this is that little boy you're talking about. Why would she want to put so many needles in my heart? Because the things as I see them, maybe this is just a guy perspective, Dwayne, and you can clear it up if it's not. I look at it and I go, the things that she mentioned as the bad things seem so inconsequential on the grand scheme of things, because those are things that people who love each other work through.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's things that people that are meant for each other work through. People that are not meant for each other, every little detail is blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
And they center on that instead of anything that you've ever done good.
Right. Because I made statements like, you capitalize on this one thing and you've repeated it a few times, but what about the 3,000 other things that were good things?
See,
And of course, that's not the best way to approach it, but that's what came out of my mouth a couple
Well,
of
the
months
reason
ago.
I know is because my ex, he never talked about anything that I've ever done good. Nothing was ever said. The only thing was everything, any little minute detail that I may have done wrong. That's all he concentrated on. So anything good just went out the window.
I also think as well that there's a way of. I've known Scotty a long time, and we've talked about a lot of things.
We've known each other as long as I've been married, since before.
So I've known him a long time, and one thing I'll say, Dwayne, is that I've been in an emotional abusive relationship. I have been in a relationship where I was pushed down the stairs, hands around my throat, a fractured thumb, emotionally abused, ripped apart mentally and emotionally, betrayed, cheated on, physically cheated on. So that's emotional abuse. That is a lot of emotional abuse to deal with. I'm sure Val could sit there and say exactly the same as what she's been through. Scotty is not an emotionally abusive man. If he was, in the 20 years I would have met him and known him, I would have seen snippets of it because of the conversations we've had. I think what I want to try and bring from Dwayne is where Scotty can go from now, from where he is right now, because he's at the lowest point. And when you're at the lowest point, the only way is up. And also how he can, because it's damage. My ex-husband left me when I was ill. He left me at my lowest point. He asked for a divorce through a text message. And that's how our marriage came to an end.
Wow.
And I felt like it was the lowest point in my life. I was very, very sick. I was in and out of the hospital. And he sent me a text message at 10 o'clock at night and said, I don't want this anymore. I want a divorce. I was devastated to the point of I cannot even cry because I had a fast heart rate problem. And the hospital said, you cannot respond to that. You've got to stay calm. And so
Wendy,
I just want
I'm sorry, go ahead.
point I wanted to make is, if you love somebody, truly love somebody, and you see them going through their darkest days, you do not, in my book, as a respectable person, do that to them at their lowest. You wait till they're back on their feet and in a better, stronger position to say, do you know what? It's not working, and now we're in a stronger position to look at it. Because at the end of the day, Dwayne, I mean, you must see cases like this all the time. You must hear from men cases all the time like this.
I'm probably dealing with this, 40 times a year. It's so common. And the first thing, Scotty, is that, and Valerie is bang on. She told you that she can't wait to start dating, to enforce the fact that you're in the friend zone.
Which is a place I told my wife I'm not going to be. I don't want to be there.
But the fact that she was able to sit beside of him, look him in the eye, and say that proves that he is not an abusive man.
No, she doubled down, and it was cold and unfeeling, and one of the worst things to be.
Trust me, if you're in an abusive relationship, you are not going to sit beside of them, look them in the eye, and say anything like that.
You're scared to even have that conversation because you know how they're going to respond. And the thing is, I'm not actually saying anything about Scotty's wife here. What I'm actually saying is, as a human being, we're all human beings, we're all talking about it. Like, kicking a dog when it's down is the hardest thing to do, and it says a lot about you as a person, not about the person you're kicking down. And I for one, crawled back up. It took me months, but I did. I crawled back up, and I was like, I'm never going down there again. And I actually ended up in a relationship down the line, which wasn't fabulous. But at the end of the day, is when you've been there, I want Dwayne to sort of give Scotty some points is where he moves forward in his life, and also he's been hurt so much and let down. Where does he move forward with this?
Well, the first thing is that, and anyone listening to this, never make someone a priority when you're an option in their life.
Amen.
And make that your maxim. And then from that place, this is where you find your power. Because, okay, I'm an option. Great. And I appreciate you that you're helping me out. And now you just get it in your head that there's a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And this chapter of my life with her is now over. And for the next 30 to 60 days, all you're focusing on is how fucking amazing Scotty is. And from that energy, like truly that energy, I'm fucking amazing. And you're in the mirror. I'm fucking amazing. I'm gonna be a fucking phoenix from the ashes. And somehow, some way, my best life is ahead of me. And you've lost a leg. Well, you're out on a limb now, and so you're gonna go and crush it. As the man that you are, you're still a very good-looking man.
Why, thank you very much.
You've got a great energy about you, and your eyes twinkle when that I just saw that little bit of a laugh there, and your eyes just twinkle. And so you still have game out there. You have just got to find your value in, and I say it this way because it's just kind of a reality. You have value in the sexual marketplace. That doesn't mean sex. It just means your vibe, your energy. And no, you're not going to date in the next little while. You're just working on Project Scotty. And you're just going to, who can you lean out to? Is there anyone that truly has your back? And then you just start building from this place. So what I get my clients to do is because we're men, and you can understand this visual. It is as if you're building a high-rise tower. We've all seen the construction sites where they say future home of the plaza, and this tower is going to be 50 stories high. Well, in order to build that tower, and this is what I want you to envision, what is your remarkable life? Like the ultimate version of Scotty as a remarkable man. That's your tower. Now, in order to build that tower, you have to excavate. You've got to dig. And so the first step is the plan. What is the plan? So in 6 months to a year, what is your vision for your life? Every detail, every freaking detail you can imagine. Now you have a plan. So it's just like an architect and the developer and the landowner. They all get together. Here's the plan. This is the vision that they have. And they even build a model, and they have an artist rendering. You see it on the construction site. There's the plaza.
Yep.
Everybody, ooh, that's going to be a beautiful building. Well, what is the beautiful building? That is Scotty. So now the construction site is getting prepped. And the next step is the dig. So the dig is all the emotional pieces. What are parts of you that you're not looking at? Because remember, we're building the best version of who you are. So what was it that got you in this mess? What was it? Like are there some emotional wounds? Are there some programs that are keeping you stuck and rinse and repeat? Well, those have to come to the surface. And then once the dig is done, now you're left with the pit. And the pit is where the foundation goes. However, the pit still is showing you where you're not yet. There's still a long ways to go. And the higher you want to go, the deeper the foundation has to be. So the pit has to be pretty deep. And for a lot of people, the pit is a very dark place. And you have to be able to be vulnerable enough and strong enough to be able to dig out the crap that's in the pit, whatever's left over. Once that's done, now the foundation gets poured. But what is the foundation for you? What is going to be the foundational piece that makes you immovable, that makes you stoic, that makes you strong, gets you into your masculine frame, and being able to command not only your life, but the people that are around you? Like, wow, what's going on with Scotty? Damn, he's got something going on. And then once that foundation is, just like in construction, the foundation takes so long to get the ground level, because that's the most important part. Concrete is actually measured in integrity. So what is the integrity of that footing? What is the integrity of that slab? There's an actual science behind concrete and cement. The concrete of a sidewalk has a different integrity than a concrete of a pillar of a 50-story tower. So we're building something truly epic here. But once it gets to ground level, and now the build happens. Everything from this point on is week after week after week. We're building something truly amazing, but it's part of the foundational pieces that you've made into your life that are every morning. You have your rituals. Every morning you're getting up at 6 a.m. You're doing a meditation. You're working out. You're eating right. You're feeding your brain with things that inspire and plug you into your passion. There's a man with passion, man, he's unstoppable. Because then after that, every floor, and you see this in construction, week after week, boom, 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 it just goes up. It's just flying up. And all of a sudden you've got this new tower. And so the first 4 phases are the most difficult. But like anything, that gleaming tower is there probably because an old building got torn down.
There's a point just wanted to say, you said that this body says, like, look, he's amazing, right? The one thing this man does not say about himself is he doesn't big himself up, and he doesn't say he's amazing. And what he still does, and I speak from the heart here, he still very much compliments his wife. He'll compliment her, he'll say lovely things about her. But I don't ever see that coming back towards where he's concerned. And also, this man doesn't big himself up. He doesn't say, like,
No.
you're remarkable, you're amazing. And yet this man is a remarkable man. I've known him 20 years. He's an author, archaeologist, paranormal investigator. He's brought up 3 children on his own. He's helped bring up another family as well. He's gone through multiple health issues and nearly died so many times. He's an amazing force of nature. And do you know what upsets me the most? Is that he puts everybody else up here and him down here, because it's like, she's amazing, she's wonderful, this is amazing, they're wonderful, not him. And so what happens is he's pushed down and pushed down and pushed down and pushed down till there's nothing left of him.
You know, even the other day, he was taken back after we did the show. Scotty popped on and was telling him, you know, I said, Scotty, this is what got me here, was watching you and watching Professor Bowers and stuff. I said, the way you conduct yourself, I said,
Amazing.
I said, you know, I got ADHD, and, you know, and their little code word for me is squirrel, because it goes off. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and I cannot keep a chain of thought. And I tell him, I'm like, you know, every time I came on your show with you, I said, I'm like a sponge. I'm soaking this in. And Professor Back, and I've seen these older guys. I said, you know, those who can't do it anymore, they teach. I said, but you're still doing it and teaching. Jesus Christ, dude, goddamn. You know, I wish I had his voice and his poetry skills. The shit that flows out of his mind from pen to paper is like honey to the ear.
And it is about him. I mean,
and I'm like,
he's got to get that in. It's about him. It's about you now, Scotty. And it's like, you need to big yourself up. It doesn't matter what anyone else wants or what anyone else thinks right now. You have got to take care of you and look after you and your own thoughts and feelings. And it's like, you got to big yourself up. More pictures of you. Yeah. We don't need to see pictures of that. You need, or whoever you put on, you need to do it about you, because you need to find your inner self again. You have had it pushed down and pushed down and pushed down. And I tell you what, I will always fight this man's corner, because in 20 years, he's been the most loyal and loving friend and has always had my back. And I tell you what, no one on my shift will ever call him emotionally abusive, because he isn't. He would actually, if he could get there and help you, he would do it. So I do feel, and I think Dwayne is the right person to, because he sees guys like this all the time. He has been pushed down and pushed down and pushed down and pushed down until his own self-respect. We have seen it. And you know, I speak, I'm very honest, but we speak in it. We've seen it out there. We've seen it. And it's like, Scotty now has to put himself first. It's about his future, where he's going, and not where everyone, who matter. Why does that matter? Who's going where and doing what?
Well,
I was going to ask Dwayne. I told Scotty something the other day, and me and Wendy talked about it later. She's like, if I could get you on point that much on the show, she said it was gold.
Yeah, it was.
But like I said, it hurts me so bad to see a dear friend. And I come from a background of brotherhood. But I told him, I said, God damn it, Scotty, be selfish. For once in your life, be selfish. And I don't know, you do more of this than I do, because I'm the more, you know, when people ask me for advice, they have lost all of their options, because I still think hitting people in the mouth is a good idea. You know, I'm like, so, but I told him, I said, Scotty, I have seen you at your best. I said, I read his book all the time. This man has got several books that he's written. You know, I can barely write a damn grocery list and keep milk on it. And I'm like, you know, you need to be selfish. You need to put yourself first. You know, you cannot take care of anybody else if you let yourself fall apart.
I'm listening to all you, and I'm just like, hey, keep it coming.
Yeah. But like I said, I see you're in tears right now, you know, Scotty, because you don't believe it. And I just met Dwayne, but, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we have to be unapologetically male, and to be a strong, masculine male, you got to have a little bit of self-worth, that you think of yourself like, I can win this fight. I am the best person on the planet right now. You know, I always tell people the S on my chest go from Superman to stupid. You know, it's all what time of day it is.
Well, see,
You
I
know?
have always believed that you can do that for yourself to a fault.
Yeah.
It's where I know a lot of confident people that are so confident about who they are and what they are and the selfless
You're a
thing that they're
Chad.
assholes.
Yeah.
And one of my things, as I said, I always want to make sure I am not ever going to become an asshole.
Yeah.
Yes, I've pursued my own things. Yes, I have pursued my interests. Yes, I've never done that, I believe, to be in what's the word I'm looking for? In something that would be damaging to my wife or damaging to my family. But I've certainly made a lot of mistakes along the way. And for me to build myself up, as everybody says, you ought to, build yourself up. I'm sure my wife has friends that tell her the same thing. But what none of those people really know are the faults that we struggle with, the things that we know we've done, the places where we say, yeah, I can build myself up. But at the same time, I have to be fully cognitive of the faults and the problems I have brought to things. And in so doing, once again, probably because I'm a guy and it's the way we're made, we want to fix those things.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to just go, okay, I accept the fact that I did that. I might not agree with everything, but then we want to fix it. I need to know how I can make that right, how I can change it, how I can become a better person. And so I bristle sometimes at some of the advice I get from friends that is like not something I would ever tell anybody. And that's pretty vague to put it that way, but I would never tell anybody to put themselves above bettering who they were, who they are now based on what they've learned about who they were or what they did, no matter the degree of the intensity. Somebody else can look at me and say, you're a fucking asshole. And I look at another person in my circles might go, you're not an asshole. You got some rough edges. Somebody else might go, I don't see that in you at all. And I might go, I'm confused now. You know, am I a bad person or am I a good person?
Well, you will definitely let us know when the smoke starts to bother you, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when you blow too much smoke up my circle, my filter,
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Dwayne, I want to ask Dwayne, obviously, you said a very good point. Just my dog in the background going nuts. You come up with a good point when you said it's about him. How does he break or try to learn to sever that link between holding on and hoping to moving on?
And it's not necessarily a popular opinion for a lot of people, but it's by taking 100% responsibility for what's happening in your life, even the shitty shit, like what you perceive is coming from her. Take 100% responsibility, because somewhere, some way, if you reverse the tape, you could go back and go, oh,
I've done that a few times.
That's when it started. Oh God, oh shit. Can't believe I did that. Oh, I can't believe we didn't repair it when that happened. Ugh.
I can't believe sometimes I didn't catch it when I was doing it.
Exactly. So when you take 100% responsibility right now, it gives you your power back, because this is part of the foundational piece. When you get your power back and again, this woman does not want you in her life, as hard as that is. There's 5 people on this call that care about you. There are a lot of people out in the world that care about you. And as you were talking and as others were talking, I felt your best book is about to be written.
Yeah.
I think your best
writing
work.
one.
Yeah, I was going to ask him.
I think your best work is ahead of you.
Where's this man at? Where is this man? That's the man I want to see.
I'm actually writing a book right now. I've been asked by the Mark Network, MARC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I saw that the other day.
He's the man that
was
injured in the Boston Marathon bombing 13 years ago and lost a limb and he started an organization, become a big national organization, and he's been he pushed me into writing a book about this. So far, it's called My First 12 Days because it's based on. I said, what am I going to write about? I said, I'm 12 days into this. He says, so you write about your first 12 days. And it's about amputation and stuff like that. And so
fantastic. I guarantee the book is going to morph and evolve because you're going to morph and evolve.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm just feeling it, that there might be a new chapter of you where you are actually a keynote speaker and you are empowering others that are going through what you're going through. And you are going to be a sought after expert on dealing with recovery after the shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going to be that guy.
And if I can, before we end all of this, I just got to show it off. You know, there it is.
There it is.
I've gained new flexibility. I can touch my.
If I could whistle, I'd whistle at you, but I can't.
I was going to tell him. I tell Scotty, you know, he's a wordsmith. You know,
Michael
he
can
could
do
write.
that, but he doesn't want to show off.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't whistle.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. But I told him, I said, you could write a book on mowing the freaking grass, and it would be interesting. It would be entertaining, and everybody don't have that gift.
I'm so glad that
everybody
Dwayne
don't
and
want
Scotty
to
have
do
met
that.
because, you know, they have so much in common and they're very, very similar. And Dwayne's world, what you missed earlier on, Scotty, was that Dwayne's world fell apart. And if you just tell Scotty briefly what you told us at the beginning of what happened.
So I had 2008, I had my perfect storm. I had a multi-million-dollar outdoor advertising company in Canada. And I had a 7-year-old son from a previous relationship, and I was engaged to the woman of my dreams. And in that 18 months, I found out that I had manifested some crooked partners to run my company, went through a nasty proxy battle. I won the company back in the courts, but there was nothing left to save. I also found out that my 7-year-old son was not mine. So I emotionally tanked. I lost my edge, my mojo. And when you're with a strong alpha woman that's gorgeous, and you know, she was raising 2 daughters of her own as well. But I lost my edge. I lost my alpha energy, and I couldn't save the relationship. I just didn't have the wherewithal. I didn't have the awareness that I have today. And so within that 18 months, I lost everything. And it was the beginning of the next chapter of my life. I had to dig the pit. I had to go into the pit and I had to lay a new foundation. And it's changed my life. As much as it hurt, it changed my trajectory. And I have changed the lives of thousands of men over, we got this going in 2011. My book came out in 2013, and I've had the Remarkable Man Project since then, and my coaching. And then I've been able to do some amazing things and work with amazing people, and have met the most amazing clients from around the world. And now I've got a new book coming out, and that's going to change the trajectory as well.
It's interesting that you were in advertising. I was in advertising for 40 years.
Oh, really?
Well, probably more like 25. I say 40 because the last 15 to 20 I've been freelancing. I was always a creative. I was a creative director, an art director, all of that stuff. So, and I still do the same stuff now. I'm an illustrator and a designer and a creative director and all of that stuff. So
well, I invented a new form of outdoor advertising, and it just took off. And unfortunately, it was crushed before it really got going.
Yeah.
How would you encourage to find his masculine, Dwayne?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
How would you encourage Scotty to find that masculine?
Well, again, it comes from a place of knowing that this is the beginning of something, that as much as it hurts right now, All right. If it has to be, it's up to me. So, do you journal?
I do and I don't.
Okay.
By that I mean I've only started
if
20 journals over the last
I'm not
40
saying
years.
you have to journal like every night, but if you do have a journal, pick it up tomorrow, or and I know it's late, but and just write several pages if you can about what the next year, if we were having this conversation 1 year from today, what would you like your life to look like? What would be the most remarkable life? Not just getting by, not just healing your wounds, not just accepting life as it comes and whatever bullshit is out there that's happening. I'm talking about the most remarkable vision for yourself. No limits, no judgment, just absolutely unbelievably remarkable 1 year from today. And when you write it down, like what you're gonna, what would you be wearing? I mean, what is your natural style? If money wasn't an issue, what would you be wearing? What's your favorite car? What are you, a house guy or are you a condo guy? Would a penthouse apartment be your thing? I mean, or a place in the country. What does that look like? Who are you hanging out with? What does a week in the life of Scotty look like? Your agenda, everything. And how are people engaging with you? And you get really clear on a conversation, and they're coming up to you and go, Scotty, damn, it was, that piece of sage you gave me the other day. Oh, it was brilliant. It's brilliant. Changed the trajectory I'm on. How many weeks has your book been on the #1 bestseller list? Oh man, that's incredible. All these things.
Yeah.
Just get really, really granular with it to allow yourself some space to dream again.
There you go. I've got dreams. So
make sure
I think it's really important that, Dwayne is so inspirational in his work. And I have seen him work. I watched his videos. He's just remarkable. He is the remarkable man. I mean, he is a remarkable man, Dwayne. You really are. And I think that Michael and Scotty, we've all gained something from this. And I can tell you, I want you to come back on to either Robertson or Wicked Women, because I think there's another show here. Like, there is another show, and I think there are so many relationships and guys and women that would get something from you. And the new book you have coming out, which sounds very, very interesting, and I know we can't sort of tell much about it because it's all under wraps right now, but your life has changed so much that you're in the UK now. You're in the you're in the UK more than you ever thought you would be. You're mixing with people and friends with people you never ever thought you would be. And I was very lucky enough to meet some of these people about a month or so ago, and it was just like, wow. And I watched you, and I want to say this, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, Dwayne, that you have never given up. Right? You've never given up. You've just keep going. And I've seen you at the point of, what am I doing? This is not working. Everything's going wrong. And when COVID hit, it was very hard for you, very, very hard. And this man never gives up. And it's the same with Scotty. And I want to say this, you two are both remarkable men, as Michael is. But right now, Scotty's going through this really dark pit. You've been in the pit. Michael's been in the pit. You're both remarkable men, and you inspire and encourage other people. People watch the Intrepid show. They watch the Captain's Log. They watch The Remarkable Man. They tune in because of you, Dwayne, because of you, Scotty. They tune in for you, and you must not ever, if you ever go into the darkness again, remember of all the lives that you have touched, or one person you made a difference for. And there are some people who will never make that difference in their lifetime. There are some people that will never, ever be out there making a difference for other people, and they have to get it in other ways and forms. But you're out there doing it. So keep on the work that you're doing. And Dwayne, absolutely. I'm just blown away with how
Dwayne, I've got to look you up now. I didn't know who you were at all. And I saw Wendy make some posts. We've got this remarkable man that's coming on the show, and I had no idea that was your organization and what you're doing. And so now I got to look you up.
All right.
So find out more about you.
he is
remarkable man is me, because I'm the only one brave enough. But it's almost like I got the Sunday off. You know, I usually don't step back and let anybody have the spotlight because I'm a Gemini. But but tonight, I have picked up quite a bit, and and that's like I told Scotty the other day. I'm like, I look at this and I look and I learn by the older guys before me, and I ask him, I said, what would Uncle Dave do? Scotty's had some loss. We lost Uncle Dave and a few other people that he kind of had followed. I said, I don't want you to go down that same street because I'm not ready to give you up yet because I'm still learning from you.
I will tell you, in the last 2 years, Uncle Dave was just a good friend of mine. 35 years. We did the Renaissance Festival together, huzzah! And but all 6 of my kids grew up around him and knew him as Uncle Dave. So he always came on the show, and I introduced him as Uncle Dave. And he passed away 2 years ago. And then my closest friend, John Ward, he passed away while I think it was the week after my wife got back from Alaska. And so just 3 months ago. And so it seemed like in the middle of all of this, my male confidants were all gone. And it's like talking to anybody else. No, don't take offense, Michael. Kenny, I see you over there. Don't take offense at that. But my closest male confidants that I told everything to, talked to everything, gone. And I felt just that windswept, desert, Percy Shelley's desert that goes on forever. And then all this hits, and the health, the leg, the wife, the family, the everything just went. And I don't know if you're a religious man or have any spiritual religious training. I had people comparing me to Job from the Bible. Lost everything. And then his wife finally came to him at the end, and she said he's scraping like leprosy off his arms with potsherds sitting in the ash, and lost everything he had. And his wife looked at him and she said, curse God and die. And you never hear about her again. I think that was her exit. Hey, see ya, curse God and die. And she was gone. And so there are times I don't want to be so hoity-toity and esoteric about myself that I compare myself to a biblical patriarch. But there are times I see comparisons and I go, I don't know what's going on. I got to get it figured out. So,
Ken, it's lovely to see you here. Have you been? What
Kenny.
Thoughts? Hello, Ken.
Your sound on, Ken? Red Dog 1 to Red Dog Squadron. Kenny, come in.
Yeah.
He's talking, but we can't hear him.
Messaging.
Well, Kenny gets
unmuted.
unmuted. I just want to give a shout out to Steve. Thank you, Steve. Been seeing your chat on there.
I spoke to Steve last night. I spoke to Steve last night about the fact that you were coming on, and he immediately went on to the website to go and investigate and see what you were all about. So that's fantastic. And
awesome.
I also have another friend, Kieran, in the chat as well, who's currently going through a bit of nightmare that he's going through at the moment as well. So the fact that he's here is fantastic, because I know that he's going to be taking a heck of a lot from what we're talking about tonight as well. So again, thank you so much for being here.
And as far as this, I thought you were a counselor at first when I first came on, and I thought, wow, I'm getting a ton of free counseling here. And where do you send your bill? Do you need my address?
We'll send you a bill.
Yeah, we'll send it.
We'll put it on the
Send it.
tab, buddy.
No, I mean,
I
like
just made a new book.
Dwight is an author like yourself. He's a life
I-
coach. I
My,
mean,
my tagline is I'm the coach for remarkable men.
There you go.
I need to find out where that download that list is, because I got it pretty good today.
Michael,
know,
what have you taken from this episode? What is it that's staying with you?
You know, part of it, you know, Scotty's like, you know, I lost my male confidence, and a lot of times it is hard for men to ask for help because it makes you seem weak.
Right.
And and I'm a little bit younger than Scotty. You know, I tell people my age, and people know Scotty's age, and it would be hard to ask a younger man, "What do you think?" Even though I'm gray in the beard, just like him. You know, had life as
Just like Kenny.
out of me. Yeah, Kenny.
I'll tell you what. I will say this. I will say this about Scotty. For the time that I've known Scotty, and I'll tell anybody, he's a stand-up guy.
Yes, sir.
The guy will go bend over backwards for you. And believe me, if anybody knows, I know. Scotty was there for me as a friend. We never met in person, but I think of Scotty as a brother. And I'm not ashamed to tell any guy that I care for is a dear friend of Scotty, and I'll tell Scotty in a heartbeat. And Scotty has told me the same thing, brother. I love you. I love you like a brother. And Scotty's a strong man. And Scotty, I'll tell you guys, he's not a quitter. Believe me, I know Scotty. You can kick him down. He might be down on one knee, but Scotty will be back, and he'll be back bigger, stronger, and better. And I know this from Scotty.
And he's going to be single, ladies.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me start. Just send your applications to.
Hey, Scotty. You know what?
At that place.
Not to bring up Bosa. You know, but talking about another remarkable male. You know, I've never seen anybody tell Cantor to go get fucked like KB did. You know what I'm saying? I look up to these guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm 53 years old, and these guys, you know, I'm not saying that they're ancient, but a lot of the way they carry themselves reminds me of the men that men used to want to be like. What does it say? A man's man. You know, a man a woman wants to be with. That man, I'll tell KB's age because, you know, KB, I don't give it, you know.
I don't care.
You know, KB's my buddy. You know, he don't, you know. He's unafeared and he don't give a shit.
But Kenny had his own journey. I mean, he, you know, he's ex-cop, but he also beat cancer.
He
and
did.
you know, he went through his own dark journey.
Yeah.
And he's come out the other end. And I think what
What was
Dwayne
it? 6
trying
months
to
of
say
live.
is that you
3
guys
years
are all remarkable, and you need
That's
to
it.
tap back into that and remind yourselves that you are remarkable. You are remarkable men, and as we are remarkable women. And Wicked Women is here for women, of course we are, but we also want to do things that enhance women's relationships and their view of seeing things as well, because, you know, we're all here to learn and grow. And I know Sparky, when she was coming on tonight, she was, you know, she's like, I don't know if I'm the right person to be on the show tonight, didn't you? You were really not sure.
Yeah, because very much in the way of, I'm not sure. I felt like I almost wouldn't fit as such. Obviously, everyone has something to bring, but I didn't know if I would be able to bring anything into the conversation that would be relevant as such, other than my own, obviously, the previous experiences of which I've already spoken about, where my relationships that I've had haven't been the greatest, but a lot of that has come about because of the negative parts of the relationship that I've had, and very much in the way of when I was in those relationships, I was using all of my feminine energy, but that allowed me to be abused in many ways. But I wasn't entirely sure as to what I'd be able to bring to the conversation, but it's been fantastic to be here and to be able to listen to everybody and kind of give my 2 cents here and there.
It was great meeting you a couple of weeks ago. I was sitting in my hospital bed after the show, and I thought, oh God, I wonder if anybody's still around because the show's off. And I came in an hour after the show was done into the studio, and you guys Wendy brought me in, and you were all still sitting there, just having a meeting, you said. And we ended up talking for
3 hours.
4.5 hours.
Another
something
3
like
hours
that.
or so
It's in my
afterwards.
house.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Scotty, what I love to see tonight. It looks like you got a bunch of hard heads on here tonight. I would love to see some women come on and express themselves and give a feedback. I think that would be fantastic. I mean, like I said, we got a bunch of hard heads. You got Mike, you got Too Hotty Scotty, and you got the old man. I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to see some woman push that button. She's got a StreamYard. All you got to do is click it. She'll bring you on, and you can add something to it if you got something to say. I think that would be fantastic. That's just my opinion, and like everybody's got one, if you know
And
what I
you
mean.
ain't afraid to share it.
Yeah, you don't. And one thing about Wicked Woman, you do not have to be afeared. I will tell you that. To come on.
We are a friendly bunch, and you know that we're also a family as well. And I've been wanting Dwayne. I wanted to bring Dwayne on so much with Roberts and Robertson when we were doing, because Wicked Women wasn't there then. We talked about it at the time, and it wasn't the right time. And now, obviously, we brought it on. And I hope, I mean, Dwayne, I don't know how you feel. Will you come back on and do another show with us?
I would love to. This has been great.
Because
Really enjoy the engagement and.
Yeah.
I don't think we've even scratched the surface.
No.
You're absolutely right,
Absolutely.
Sparky. I mean, this is such a nuanced conversation. It can go in so many different directions.
Yep. It's
And whilst you're on English time as well, you know,
Might as
if
well
I'm
make the most of it.
late, and Sparky's staying up late, you're gonna stay up late as well.
As
what-
wonderful as this has been, I've got to blast off. I've got to take off. Dwayne, it was great meeting you. I would like to know a little bit
Absolutely,
more
Scotty.
about you. I'm going to do a little homework and love to talk to you sometime.
Yeah,
And,
reach out.
I love the name of your organization, and I think that says it all. And Wendy, thank you for having me, and Valerie and Sparky too, because you're all part of this little organization here. So, Kenny, good to see you. Michael, good to see you. And I'd love to stick around, but I'm going to go.
just remember, brother, if you need anything, I'm only.
I
Don't
sure
go away.
appreciate that.
Be safe,
Thank
Scotty.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
I
Guys,
look forward to talking to you, Scotty.
See ya.
Cheers.
talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I think it's been a very great show, and as I said, I think we've only touched the surface. We could go on for another couple of hours, because there are, and Dwayne, what might be interesting is, like, as you're on the same time zone, is do a daytime show of because there are, so we bring we're bringing in different people on a different time, and I know you're very, very busy, but if you could squeeze us in.
Yeah. Kings and queens and all these dinners and all this stuff that I've heard about. But and this is my thing, and I've tried to stay on topic, and I've tried to sit back because I really, really want to learn and hear, because I figure if you shut your ears and open your mouth, sometimes it is to your detriment. But most of the remarkable men I've seen have had really extraordinary and remarkable women behind them. I said most men are very trainable. You pat them on the back of the head, rub their belly. You feed them 3 or 4 times a week and tell them, good boy, they'll build you a fucking mansion. And that's it. And I always say communication is key. And, and you take, what is it? They used to tell us, you chastise in private and praise in public. I learned that in the Army. You never tear anybody down publicly. And I have seen that happen to a lot of men.
Yep.
And they said, well, why ain't he a man? Well, he just cut his balls off in front of all his 11 friends and told him what a piece of shit he was. And you still expect him to be a man. And that don't happen. When Ken was sick, there was only a few people. He knows me. I have no filter. And he lost his voice. So I sat in for coffee with KB. Scotty, like I said, voice like honey. And he just flows. Me, I'm like a shotgun blast of reality. Either you like it or you don't. And I'm unapologetic for it. But that's what I'm saying, and that's, I finally got to my point where I'm unapologetically male. If I see a pretty woman, I want to say, hey, that's an attractive woman. I should not be ashamed of having male impulses and saying, look, this is what I like. If you don't like that, that's fine. It's 2025. And I've told people, you can identify as whatever you want. I don't care. But don't expect me to curve my biology as a man and say, well, you know what? Big, tall, blonde, blue-eyed ladies, that just ain't my thing, which would be a lie and not true to myself. you know, and I tell them, I said, you cannot fight biology. You can't. I grew up on a farm.
Mhm.
I'm like, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's how it works.
But
I
Michael, you said something a while ago, and I have to say this
Give me Val.
because you know I got a big mouth too. When you said you praise in public and chastise in secret, and
In private,
you don't chastise your partner, period.
No, but what
You
I'm saying is,
communicate. If something's wrong, you communicate. You don't chastise each other. Period.
but what I'm saying is, if there's an issue that is so egregious that it has to be addressed and something has to be said, you don't tear the other one down, and that goes both ways.
But you don't tear them down at all.
But
You
that's what I'm saying.
speak and you communicate and you figure things out.
I've been married several
That's
times.
a
I've
very
been
hard
married
thing.
too. Don't-
That's a
You know what I'm
very,
saying?
very
mean-
hard thing, isn't it?
I've
Communication.
been-
Like, we think it's the
I want
hardest
to say, I want to say this while I go. You got a great guest tonight. Very entertaining, very knowledgeable, and a lot of you guys know me. He doesn't know me, but some of the people might be listening or watching knows KB. I'm a little surprised, everybody. We'll be back in 2 weeks for morning coffee with KB. So when you know that I will be back, and that's all I got to say about that. Very entertaining show, very interesting, informative. Do appreciate you guys letting me come on your show. I've really appreciated Wendy and Val, and I really appreciate it. Thank you guys, and I'm gonna sit back the rest of it and watch till the end.
Thanks, Ken.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ken.
Bye bye.
I don't mean to sound like a bitch about
Oh,
it,
you're
but
not.
you know what I'm saying.
You know I love you. I'm not
Because
saying-
I had that. I had someone that would chastise me and tell me everything that I was doing wrong.
I didn't say no. I'm not talking about every little thing. I'm talking about, if there's an issue that is so
I know.
egregious that it has to be addressed, it's best to do it behind closed doors. Because like we said the other day, if you do it in public, you're putting everybody's opinion that's in
Sure.
that vicinity
But that's
into your
that's the
relationship.
thing, that every little thing was major to them.
And he was a
You
child.
know, it
He was
was
an asshole and a prick.
exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, so I'm not
And-
with him
and-
now.
That's
Duh.
it.
But
We grow
you know
up
what
and
I'm
we move
saying?
on.
It's those people that are not meant for each other tend to expand
attracted
the
to each other.
tiniest little micro thing into like this major
Yeah.
problem that they have to argue about constantly, and
Yeah.
things like that. And when communication would solve it in a heartbeat.
It is, but like I
Biggest
said,
issue in regards to any relationship, business prospects, or anything is
Absolutely.
always communication.
Absolutely.
It's a topic that I like to look at in the future, which is why social media, women and men, put their whole lives out there on social media. They slate their partners, they demean their partners, they run them
Publicly.
down,
Honey, people would get so bored if I put
and then they go.
I don't get how some of those videos ever make it onto social media. Like, how is that even possible that they would just throw their beloved under the bus like that in front of
Well,
everyone
we know someone.
and stay together?
Yeah.
I mean, I would never do
endorphins
that, and I don't put my personal.
No.
I might show my kids or something like that. That's about it. I don't
But-
put my.
I'm in an
I
echo
went.
chamber because of the work I do. I see them all. Like and anything to do with relationships, I see them, and I just, oh my god.
But
And
Dwayne, do you
those
ever?
reaction videos where
Yeah.
someone's reacting to someone, can you believe this person said this? And
Well,
out there.
I'd like
like
to
to-
do Dwayne to come in and teach the ladies some things, because I obviously I'm not a man. I can't go to one, because obviously predominantly it's men. But I think you would be great to come back on or to do something with us where you can help the girls, the ladies.
Yep.
But also there's so much more about you. And I just want to share a memory. Like, so when I met one of the first times I met Dwayne, I was in a coffee shop in Calgary called Higher Ground. It's amazing. It's a really lovely coffee store. You kind of walk in, leather sofas, fire, or open fire. It's just amazing. And we met and we chatted, and he would, he looked, first of all, he looked amazing. He had a great sort of jacket and trousers and shirt on, and he just, wow. When he walks in, you're just like, wow. And he smelled very, very good, very, very good, which is very important. And literally, we chatted away and that lot, and I could never have knew all those years ago, Dwayne, like through being friends and everything like that, where I would be doing a podcast and going, and you would be on it and you'd be doing so well, because The Remarkable Man. And what is the name of the new book again? Remind us all.
Masculinity in the Age of the Empowered Woman
is going to come by storm, and you're mixing in such an amazing, I mean, it blows me away. And it's like, I really want you to come back. I really want you to come back, and promise me you will.
Yeah,
I will. I definitely will.
Just so that we've got it on recording, right?
Yeah.
We're recording it now.
We have proof that you did say that.
I need a link to that checklist that they keep talking about, because I say when a man quits trying to improve himself, he's failed.
He's given up on himself.
He has, and that's like, I got it earlier today. There's a really sweet lady that told me I needed to get into the UK before something happened to her. So then I got an offer I cannot refuse. And with sickness and finances, sometimes it's hard to travel. So now we actually have started Operation Get Michael's Ass to England to see Mom. And like I said, I don't get very emotional anymore or whatever. But that little lady she did have me in tears. She did today. She's like, I really want to see you. And I'm like,
probably never thought he was going to be sitting in the UK as much as he did you?
No.
So,
yeah, it's been quite an experience, and will continue to be.
But right now,
blowing my mind.
But in the UK right now, I have seen, if you have a male point of view society, and it comes, like you said, it's top down to the bottom. They tell people, oh, that's bad. You have a man thought. You think like a man. Yeah, toxic. And I said, if you're going to be a Chad, you're a Chad. Like if there's any Chads out there, good guys, I apologize, because that's just the male version of a Karen. All right. I had an Aunt Karen, absolutely lovely lady, but I have seen a few of them that was fucking horrendous. But like I said, and assholes come in all shapes and sizes, and you don't have to be a man to have toxic. I've seen a lot of toxic women.
Yep.
But and I'm like, and I've seen them tear their husbands down or their spouse, same way as an abusive man would tear, a decent lady, and they make them jaded. So then you got to repair all of the emotional damage that was done by somebody that was a piece of shit. That should have never been part of your life. But now you got to go in and do all the spackle to cover up the holes in the wall, that they had poured into your soul. So, I'm like, I don't know. Like I said, I've learned quite a bit. You asked me earlier, and what I've learned, I've learned it. I got to download a checklist. I got 2 books to read now. One that was 10 years old, and the other one he's writing. And I would love, to add him on Facebook and follow him, because I think he would be good.
Yes.
Like I said, I don't know how old Dwayne is, because like I said, I know how old I am, but like I said,
I just turned 60 last month.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Not that he looks there.
He looks very good.
So,
listen, ladies, I've seen him in the flesh. I've been up and close and personal, Mr. Klassen, and let me tell you, he's damn good. He looks amazing, and he smells very, very good. He does.
Oh, yeah. That's
and when you walk into a room, like he's tall. How tall are you, Dwayne?
I'm 6'4".
6'4".
Hell, he's taller than I am. That don't happen much.
Presence then.
So, like when he walks in the room, like,
don't happen much.
And do you know what I like about Dwayne? And I like what he puts in the books about when men make an effort to look good. They put an effort in it. For themselves, not just for their ladies, for themselves.
Yeah,
they feel good. They are good. And certainly you're living it. Do you feel that, Dwayne, that your future is in Calgary, or do you feel that you were going to just be traveling on and on? What do you feel?
I would have had a more solid answer for you in the summer, but now things are really in flux. There's so many opportunities. I'm staying in, like, this place blows my mind. This is like, I guess I can't really show you. I have a gimbal camera, so it just follows. It just tracks me. It'll just focus on my face
You're
instead
gonna
of.
have to get up and walk around, and so it will actually follow you around. But
But yeah, I'm in this beautiful home that's right on the seaside. Like out this window is the beach. It's like the heart. The seawall is there, and incredible restaurants, and this is all part of an amazing 200-year-old structure. It's just grand on another level. 15-foot ceilings. It's just crazy.
the White Cliffs of Dover.
Did you find that British men are very different to Canadian men?
I have not. Well, your football culture is certainly. I can see where the government is in control to the degree that they're in control, because men have really given up, and all they have left is their sports and their beer, and that's what a lot of them feel. And the Romans knew if they could convince enough to go to the Colosseum and be entertained, they'd have them. And this is exactly what they're doing. And I see, like, my host is a huge football fan, and there was 2 games on today, and he's glued to it.
And soccer, right?
Both the teams that he follows are soccer here, and they both lost. But those stadiums hold 85,000 plus, and they were packed, just absolutely packed. And I see all these men and it happens in North America, it happens in Canada, and all through the U.S. Sports is the distraction, and a lot of men are identifying with the name that's on the back of their jersey more than they are with themselves. And the guy's name on the back of the jersey doesn't even know who they are, doesn't care who they are.
I had that very same conversation the other day. We got another friend. Boy, you got here just in the nick of time, Dwayne. I'm so tired of carrying these men. But I told him, he's had this young lady, and she always wants to mess with him, and the issues, it's like she's missing the fuck. And he's like, I got to watch hockey. I got to do this. And I told him, I said, if you die today, any of these people would not give a flying fuck about you. I said, but these people want to talk to you, reach out to you to make sure you're okay. I said, you're pushing them away. I said, you're an asshole. I said, because these people that you got to pull for don't give a good God. You know what I'm saying? I said, and he got mad at one of our other friends. She's here in the chat. He's like, oh, you jinxed my sports team, so therefore I can't talk to you. I said, how fucking ridiculous is this? Like you said, they don't give, and I said, if I got to bring these men back to being unapologetically male, one at a time, I'm going to drag them back by the bollocks, as Wendy would say, and tell them, say, look, reach in your pants. You're a man. Act like one. Because I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? Oh, toxic Mexican. No, I'm not talking about being toxic.
Answer that question. British men and Canadian, Dwayne?
No, I have not seen any difference. No.
What about American men?
There's the sort of issues and problems that you've had with the British clients?
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
It is problematic. And Michael, I've got clients in the United States too, and I've traveled the width and breadth of all, well, not all 50 states, but good chunk of them. And it's
manly men. Come to the mountains. I'll introduce you.
What's that?
I said, hey, and if you want to meet the Menley men, come to the mountains here. But but I have seen even here in the mountains, because I'm in Southwest Virginia, and they say West. I said, no, we're in the Appalachian Mountains, which is known for having hardy people, male and female. My grandmother was like 98 years old when she died. Never had a telephone in her house. She looked like Granny Clammett. Woman scared me to death. Little bitty woman, because I'm 6'3", and here's this little woman like, and you cared to her because she'd beat you to death. But but I see this, but we used to have like the big mountain men, like you said, the Amish, the big beards, and they walked around. I got pictures of my grandparents, here, and they're sitting there and he's got his hands inside of his jacket. But and he was proud to dress up. And I'm like, I don't see that. I have traveled all over the world. And some of the, like you said, the Arab countries we've seen, the men are very masculine. A lot of times Central America, I see that more. They're still very, what is the word, macho? They got a Spanish word for macho, but it's like, I can't remember it. But even sounds manly. It's like, oh, I got so much moxie or whatever.
Right.
But in some days, even me, I feel like Austin Powers when he said, I've lost my mojo, baby. I've lost my mojo. And I have seen, you can ask Wendy, I watched, the British news of the morning. Then I watched the Connect, because I want to know, if shit pops off, I want to know where it's coming from so I can be ready. And I have seen in Canada, Wendy keeps us very apolitical. Ain't nobody supposed to know what we're saying, but I'm thinking, if the leadership don't get their shit together, they're going to lose their country. They don't want to hear, well, you're basically a trust fund baby of the U.S. But if you don't man up and put good leadership in place, it's going to happen. I said, never before in history has a country so rich in resource not be responsible for their own defense. There's a reason men go to war. And that's why I tell people, the Spartans' mothers used to tell their sons, come back with your shield or come back on it. They didn't say, well, go get a fucking participation trophy. Go be a man. If you die being a man, I can cry proudly. And like I said, being in the army.
Well, I know that being political is not something we want to, but
no.
The reality is that if you're right of center, there's more masculinity.
Yeah.
That I've seen.
Yeah.
And if you're left of center, oh God, what a clown show it has become.
Yeah. And I tell them, I don't say go out and grope or catcall women, but be a man. You know what I'm saying? Lace up your freaking boots, put on your flannel, and go bust some fucking wood. Do manly shit.
Well, I'd like to see that.
Her purse is
when
not.
We had the trucker convoy in Canada. The trucker convoy was probably the most Canadian celebration of our country. It was even bigger than any World Cup hockey thing, or it was the most connected. But our government and our media hijacked it to make it into this Nazi thing or whatever. But Canadians around the world and men were leading the charge, and women too, in the freedom movement. It was huge. And I saw men being men, and I saw women embracing their femininity from a goddess standpoint, and it was beautiful to see. But I saw the left just get so unhinged, and I never seen more men so unmanly, wearing their mask, carrying their toddler with a mask on and a shield. And I just and I never wore a mask ever, except on a plane once. And not to be an asshole, not to be I wasn't trying to be a dick. I just had my values, and I was very strong in my values. And I taught all my men in the Remarkable Man Project that this is a test.
Yeah. And
this is an intelligence test. And so this is going to be, you're either going to be hated and shunned by people you're close to. And I even got a lot of hate. Dwayne, you're getting off your brand. Be careful. You're a leader. And I went, no, I couldn't be more on brand. as what a remarkable man is, because a remarkable man stands in the face of tyranny.
Yeah.
A remarkable man stands for his family and body autonomy and sovereignty. And this is the essence of our authentic masculine power. And so I ended up going, my message and my brand was labeled more right of center. And I'm proud of that. I truly am. And unfortunately, 80% of the population, they're now, a lot of them are regretting it. But I see most of the masculine or the feminized men are on the left. And there's a lot of men I can't save.
Oh, I was going to say, it always said we die like men, women and children to the lifeboats first, and I'm like, and that's what men did. We died like men. We always protected women and children, not because they was weak or couldn't, but that's what we was taught to do. You always put and you always held women up because, like you said, women are, that's supposed to be your goddess at home.
I like to hear that.
You come home.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to, I'm saying, I'm saying, well, like I said, but if you're trying to be the goddess too and wear her shoes when she's not, you cannot hold her up as a goddess if you're role playing that too. And and I always said, be a man.
I will say this, Mike, if you don't mind me cutting for you real short, because I'm not going to hold you. But what, my generation, when I was growing up, and I love it.
His generation was back when men was men, and you knew what a man was, and I get it. And he's froze. Like I said, that's the reason I love KB so much, because KB is a man's man. He was a policeman. He carried himself like a man, and that's what I said. You look at Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz.
The good old days. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? It's interesting. As I said, this is a topic we could go on and on about, and I would. I mean, Dwayne and I have had long conversations, but I would go on and on and on. But it's like,
I think I sent your friend request. I don't know if you replied or not, Dwayne. I could pick your brain for hours.
Absolutely. So
we try really hard to this is a really good topic, as in the fact that, Dwayne, you've come on, and I'd love to know more about your work that you do. We'd bring you in for more more interesting shows.
And make it part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much. And it's meant a lot tonight to have different. We all have difference of opinion. We all come from different backgrounds. It's, as I was saying, if you make a cake, you got to have lots of different ingredients. We're not all going to always see things the same, but at the end of the day, we're human beings. We have that in common, and we should all be about bigging each other up and being supportive.
We could always talk about the goddess thing a little more too.
I mean, I'm all up for the goddess thing.
Oh, for sure.
Just saying.
But you think about it, when women are at their most feminine, they're at their most beautiful. And I have seen, 2 out of the 3 with, I don't know, no, probably 3 out of 3. Wendy, no makeup. I tell her, I said, you're absolutely gorgeous, honey. You're absolutely gorgeous the way you are. And I've seen Valerie the same way. And I tell them, y'all are absolutely gorgeous. And in which I haven't seen Sparky as much. Sparky's kind of new. But like I said, Sparky, she's gorgeous, and I tell them, y'all do not need all of this. Then they look at me like I got 3 heads and lost my damn mind. And I'm like,
if you've seen me anytime other than on my show or this show, you have seen me without makeup.
But that's one of the, and I tell them, they're absolutely cool. And, and it's easier when a woman is being feminine to treat her like a goddess. Because if she's acting like a man, it's.
We quite like to be treated as goddesses. I'm all up for that. I've got me.
I mean, I haven't been, but
that was the same as me, Val. I'm sat here going, when does that happen? When?
I'm up for experiment. I'm just saying.
And I've told people, anybody that can listen, like I said, I'd love to be part of his movement because Even being from, I never thought I'd find a manly man from Canada from watching the news, and now I
Well,
have.
there you go. You met
Well,
once.
I'm surprised again, but it's and I tell him, you're not his buddy, you're his.
I'm from
confidant.
Alberta. I got to make that distinction.
Oh yeah, drill baby drill pipeline. I love that. Oh,
Yeah.
talking about a masculine woman. The
But
primary. I
I'm all
love
up
her.
for
Jesus
seeing you
Christ.
guys.
He's the
like,
best.
She
I'm
is.
all up for you guys, like out in the forest with an axe in your hand, chopping wood up with your shirt undone. I mean,
me and Dwayne could probably
I'm
pull
up
that
for
off.
watching that. I think that could be quite entertaining.
As long as
you
you
know?
bring the stuff.
But,
that I'm
Then there's me with the axe in the corner going, I'll do my thing. I'm good.
but
Well,
what I
I'm
was
standing
thinking-
over here with a big pile of wood, getting ready to carry it back. So.
No. I'm giving it to the lads. They can chop it up.
I tell them, everybody wants to be a chief in the Indian, but the Indians and are indigenous or what, I'm so political, and on my mom's side, the men, they went and hunted, they protected the village, the women cooked and took care of the little ones, the men, and just looked after the TP. Then, and they had a pretty good deal going. And next thing you know, we come in from Europe and it's like, hey, hold up a minute, let me introduce you to Texas. You're doing it wrong. And they had a pretty good deal. And that's the running joke that my mom's side of the family always talks about. So, we had it figured out for 5,000 years. And a few lost white people on a boat came over and said, hey, we got a better way of doing this. But no, that's what I'm saying. But I tell women, don't treat him like your buddy, because you're confident and all that. And if you treat him like a buddy because he goes drinking and raising hell with his buddies, and you're not that, if you want him to treat you like a goddess, act like one.
Absolutely. And so, Dwayne, I think everyone's got something from the show tonight. I'm going to bring up Steve's comment, which says, let's go, men. Let's support our women, ourselves, consciousness, and well-being. And I think
Well said, Steve.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out what he said I was. One of y'all going to have to read that big word.
So I just want to say thank you so much, Dwayne, for coming in. It's been a really, really good show. I've been watching the viewers ratings like this, and it's so nice to actually see so many people commenting, and to have it we had seven on, which was really great. And Val and I, when we started our little channel about a year, almost 2 years ago, people were like, that this Wicked Women, mate, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to do anything. And our mission was to empower women to be their most authentic and true selves and stand in their own power as women. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being in your own power and being feminine as well. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But it was also to bring subjects that would help their lives in many different ways. And we have some other great subjects coming up too. We have a show which I must briefly talk about. Next week will be the Halloween show, which will be amazing because we have a few topics to talk about, very Halloween. The following week I have a lady coming in. She is English. She lives in Bulgaria. She's an animal rescuer. She's been doing everything she can on her own, as much as she can. So it's going to be a really good show. And I would love Dwayne to come back on in November. I'd love you to come back in and do another show. Do you reckon you can fit us in?
That would be, I'll make it a priority.
You better.
Since you're from Alberta, we'll slide you right in. Like I said, they always said that is the Texas of like Southern Canada. Alberta is like the Texas of Canada.
It is. It's very, very much like it. Same energy, same vibes, the culture. Yeah.
All and big trucks and big old boys and cowboy
big trucks and delicious beef and
the trucks are cool. I'm gonna say that the trucks are cool because when I went to Canada back in 2005, I didn't know what the hell I was waiting for me out there, and it was like the mountains were beautiful, everything was beautiful, but the trucks were cool, and the men are I can tell you the men are very different to British men. Very, 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 very.
It is very hard to be a manly man.
The Canadian men, I actually found they were far more at that time, I found they were more masculine than the British men were. Dare I say that? I actually felt like the Canadian had it more going on. But anyway, what I want to get back to saying is that we will do another show with Dwayne. If you want to ask him any questions, please find him. You can find him on Dwayne Klassen on Facebook and Instagram. Dwayne, tell them where else they can find you.
Just DwayneKlassen.com. You can also go to the Remarkable Man Project School community for the men. You can join for free. It's I think we've got 126 members in there now. We're just going to a whole nother level. Yeah, the Remarkable Man Project YouTube channel as well is there. But DwayneKlassen.com, LinkedIn as well.
Wait, Dwayne, what was the quote you gave Scotty? He says you gave him a great quote. He said something about
never make someone a priority when you're an option in their life.
Yeah.
If it's not that one, it's still a good one.
Yeah.
And he can always rewind and watch it all, right?
Is that the one?
Yeah, it's out there forever. Yeah.
So I'm going to take Michael. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Really grateful that you're here. Thank you for what you bring to the show. We are really, really grateful. If you just stay in the background, I will take you off. Sparky, thank you so much for being here. As always, it's lovely your input. I hope you got something from the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's been such a great show. It really has. I'm looking forward to the next one as well.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, we love having you here. Stay behind. It won't be too long. So that just leaves you.
My internet, I think, is frozen.
With the two ladies of Wicked Women. Like we've enjoyed having him, haven't we, Val?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't really have anybody to argue with though.
I know JP didn't turn up, right?
All right. I mean, Michael a little, but you know.
It's just it. I'm trying to bring him in. So we've got you all to ourselves at the moment. Nobody's watching, Dwayne, you know.
Well, that's okay. It glitched out. I wasn't sure if I missed anything or.
No, just me and Val talking about you. That's all.
Okay.
Because now you've just got us. You've obviously helped a lot of people, I think, tonight. Don't you think, Val?
Yeah, I think so. Men and women.
Mm.
Yeah, I think maybe women know that there's hope for those men that that are needing
there's definitely
boot.
hope. And if you want, I mean, for the next show, I mean, I do have. It's called the Remarkable Relationships Program, and so this is something that is geared more towards women. And of course, by the next time we have the show, my book should be out, and we can go down a few rabbit holes in regards to
that. That would be a fantastic.
We'd love to work if Wicked Women can work alongside the Remarkable Man. I think that sounds like a very good thing to do. Sparky's nodding her head like this. I'm just going to bring her on. She's like, yes. I think if
I'm sat here going, yes, because I know I can be seen in the background.
I think if Wicked Women as women, if we can work alongside you and bring it out to help women, because we do need help as women. We do. How to cope with our relationships? How do we cope with our guys? What do we, I wish I'd met you, like, as in.
So,
20, 30 years
fun
ago.
fact is that 65% of my fan base are women.
Ah.
Well, it's hard for us. It's hard for us to know how men need to be or want to be treated by us in order for them to come into their masculine self.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we do that? How do we treat them without babying them?
All about men, but it'll be women engaging. And they're going, yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And the men won't engage, but the women will. And if it's my coach that suggested that, you know what, you've got something here. You might want to consider. And even though I've been doing this for all these years, and my focus has been men, I haven't had really any pushback from any alt, super feminist or the Alphabet Squad. I've never had anybody push back on me from a bias that I was toxic or I was coming
We're all screwed.
from a heterosexual, white male.
I mean, if you
privilege.
want someone like that, then I am a member of the Alphabet Squad. So,
Well, see, masculine and feminine energy is in however you identify, but a lot of the ultra militant, if you will, would, if it's coming from a straight white male, oh good Lord, like a straight white male has no rights. Like zero. He is there's all these entities that have more rights, or because I automatically have privilege. Somehow I have privilege because I'm a straight white male. And I never understood how that got any traction whatsoever, but it did. And I will push back any time that is put out there. And I believe toxicity, and I said at the beginning, toxicity is just anyone can be toxic. Anyone.
You and I talked on Friday, and I said it's not just like heterosexual relationships. I believe you've had gay guys too, like asking, right?
Oh, I work with I probably every year, probably 12 gay men in my coaching.
Yeah,
because it doesn't matter. Masculine and feminine energy has to show up. You need a bottom and a top, and the reality is you've got to have attraction, and you can see it. And it doesn't matter if it's bi or lesbian. You're still going to have masculine and feminine. That's what creates the attraction.
Yeah, negative, positive.
and then I've got both.
What's that?
And I have both. So
There you go.
But Sparky, sometimes one dominates over the other. Like you said, sometimes
That's
your
a great point, Valerie.
sometimes your masculinity comes out more than your femininity.
Whoever you're attracted to is going to bring the opposite of who you are.
Right.
In order for that to come up. So how am I going to serve her? What vibe does she need to feel in her blissful sexual energy with you? Is that going to be more masculine? Okay, now she gets to surrender into her feminine. Oh,
but then you do have those the lesbian relationships where you have two very feminine individuals.
Yes,
but that's what each other needs.
Is very, very low.
That's what they need. That's what each other needs.
Yeah.
If they're both feminine, then that's what each other is attracted to.
The stats on masculine, feminine are not good.
And you've done a lot of study on this. I mean, Dwayne, this is not something, this is how many years work?
I'm 15 years now. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter what stripe you're at. I've gone down that rabbit hole.
And the thing is with Sparky, as I said to her today, she was saying, like, I think I have one side that pushes the other one away because it's the emotional, vulnerable side. And I think we as women, we do that sometimes. We do bring our masculine out because we are so frightened to get hurt or don't want to be vulnerable, or we have to be because we have to show up and be there take care of someone, look after someone or whatever like that. And I absolutely agree that this could go into another show. And I think we will. I think we need to come back and do it. It's been a fantastic 2 hours, 42 minutes.
I know, it's crazy.
I
past my bedtime.
past, and I swear to you, we could be here at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I have to get up in 5 hours.
Exactly, but Dwayne has got to go. And thank you very much for the I'm just going to bring this compliment that Steve has bring up. This is where Wicked Women shines. Well, we try. Dwayne, love you to bits. Thank you so much for being here. You and I will hopefully see each other very soon.
And I honor all of you for being on the call. Thank you so much for inviting me into your sacred space.
Oh, we appreciate you coming.
Absolutely. And we've been easy on you. Next time it might be a bit harder.
Oh yeah, just wait.
The more we get to know you,
I'm sure this man can handle it.
we're being on our best behavior today.
It's true.
Oh,
It's
we
true.
can.
I play
we can
devil's
do it.
advocate quite a lot.
We can rip it up next time.
Thank you so much, guys. Val, what's the week looking like ahead from you? Any shows?
Well, my show will be the 25th, next Saturday, my Halloween show.
Yeah.
It's Facebook Live, Miss Legends of the Paranormal on my page.
Valerie Rasnake.
Yes. And then the Sunday we'll have our Halloween show.
We have our Halloween show next week, which I'm sure we're going to talk about lots of spooky stuff and have fun. And also, we're still wanting anyone, there's comments or subjects you want us to talk about, please let us know. Like, share, and subscribe in the notification, because that's really, really important. I am determined to get. I know Mark English is talking about coming on to Wicked Women. We're gradually getting the men more. Scotty, also please look out for Scotty Roberts' page. You can find him on Intrepid Radio on YouTube, and you can also see him doing Captain's Log right now, which is affirmations each day to try and help when you're in the dark times. And I think he really got a lot out of tonight. As for me, I have no idea what the week holds, but I will be back next Sunday with Wicked Women. I've had the most amazing time. Sparky, thank you once again. You've been absolutely amazing. Dwayne, I'm going to take you out. Thank you so much. Wait behind just for 1 sec. And Val, as usual, it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. I had a great time.
It's been amazing.
Like I said, I didn't get a fight. But
next time, girl, next time.
There's always next time. So
have a wonderful week, everyone. Be safe. Share Wicked Women, right, Val?
Absolutely. And tell your neighbor about it.
Yeah. See you soon, guys.
Bye.